Welcome back to my garden. My name is Robin. I garden in Zone 6 in Northwest Connecticut. It is the day before Thanksgiving. I'm not exactly sure when this video is going to go out, but I thought we'd walk around so you could see, what's happening at the end of November. Obviously, the evergreens are the stars of the show at this point. The garden is pretty well put to sleep. So if it's after Thanksgiving, I hope you had a great holiday. And please try to enjoy the holiday season. It's a nice time of year for gardeners to take a little bit of a break. Whether you've gotten all your bulbs in or not, ours are already in. We've had a lot of freezes at this point already. But if not, enjoy the rest of the season and probably see you in the spring. Well, as usual, I'm going to start in the back instead of at the front. I don't know why I do it this way. Maybe it's just because I come out of my basement door. So let's walk around and see what's really catching our eye and maybe some things that maybe I'm going to change in the coming year. So right off the bat, we'll start and end at the greenhouse. How about that? So you can see I've got Thuya Linesville right here. The red bud, we're really seeing the nice shape of it. Of course, it's a little hard for you to see with nothing behind it. We've got some lemon thread cypress, and that's great because I can see that right from my kitchen window. And that nice, I have a lot of nice pops of that yellow green. Now, I like to keep mine size controlled. I do see a lot of people let those things get huge. Abies concolor, favorite tree, absolutely favorite. And if you rub it, it smells like orange, which is wonderful. Now, I can't say the same about my two spruces. This Colorado spruce and then the Colorado blue spruce, they are doing terrible. They don't get enough sun on the backside. And, so consequently, there's almost no growth on the backside, which is kind of a challenge. Again, here's another shrub. This is called Nightlight Chemosiporus. Now, as you can see, I've actually completely coppiced my beautyberry, Calicarpa. The grasses have been cut back, maybe not super neat. All the roses have been mulched up. I'd like to get that barberry really cut down a little bit next year because it's starting to get way too big and it's really encroaching on the pinky winky right there. I'm seeing some vole activity, which doesn't make me happy where I have bulbs. That doesn't make me happy. I still actually have some at last and roses that are blooming. It's kind of crazy. It's actually pretty warm out today. It's like 50 degrees because we had rain last night, but it's supposed to be freezing cold for the rest of the weekend and very windy. So I wanted to get out today because this might be one of my last days to actually get out. So here's an ilex called Golden Hellery. And again, you can see from inside, I get these lovely bright yellow green pops. The oak leaf hydrangea, this is Alice corsifolia, still looks beautiful. Look at that deep burgundy color. I absolutely love it. I did not cut back the sedum. This is Autumn Joy. These are some Chemosiporus called Cream Ball, and that one might be starting to get a little bigger than I want. Spirea, still holding on to a few. That's double play doozy leaves. This is a spruce called Poosh, and in the spring, the cones are really pretty red. Coraldo Hinoki cypress, and just a Lady of Shalott rose, still kind of hanging on, not really producing too much. And then if I back up a little bit, because I really have to back up to get this in the view, is my Norway spruce that is just getting huge. I've talked to my tree guy about trying to maybe take some of the width off so I don't have damage. We have a lot of wind here, a real lot of wind. And, with snow load, I don't want this to break, obviously. So let's keep walking this way. Like I said, there's so many directions we could walk. So Viburnum mariisi, it's so nice to see the structure of all of these plants. Obviously, all the foliage is gone. I did not get to cutting back this Pinky Winky. The thing with Pinky Winky You know, some of my other ones, I do cut the panicles off. This is very sturdy though, so I'm not as worried about that, breaking under snow load, which is kind of nice. I've got some more evergreens back here. I've got a juniper gold star, Dobbs frosted juniper back here, a physocarpus, tiny wine gold. And the raised beds basically have been put to sleep. I didn't get to cutting back the snapdragons. Sometimes they come back. Sweet William over there. My cryptomerias definitely need some work. So let me show you the paperbark maple. Absolutely, probably one of my favorites, and I just planted a new one I'll show you up in the front. So in the fall, well, especially, you get this gorgeous cinnamon peeling bark. And if you follow me, you saw that I posted a picture what this looked like a couple of weeks, a week or two ago, with the bright, bright fall color. Like I said, these cryptomerias need to be cut back. They're way bigger than I want them to be. Rose of Sharon in the back over there. Again, I still have some snapdragons here. Some roses on my arbor here. This is Generous Gardener. Blackberry. This did not fruit at all this year, which I'm not sure I understand, but whatever. Still have a couple of rose hips on my Rugosa alba right there. This pine, just your Pinus strobus. This actually is looking better this year because it's getting more sun on the backside. We had to take a limb off that maple to get some more light on the backside. So over in this corner, which I probably don't come to too often, I have a whole line of hostas here that of course have been cut back. This is Brother Stefan. I have a Hortsman's Silverlock. Look at the gorgeous variegation on this with the blue and white and the curled pine, the curled needles. Got a new crabapple there. I've not gotten around to cutting this Hakanakloa back yet. I think it's the last brass for the most part that hasn't been cut back. Ilex steeds, all the hydrangeas, all the perennials have been cut back. Pussy willows. Across the back here I have Diablo 9-barks. This is a Weigela right here. Like I said, all the hostas, the Aruncus have been cut back. The lady's mantle, the epimedium is still up. And there's another nightlight chemiciferous. Now you can see this one does not get as much sun, where the one I showed you in the very beginning is much yellower. So let's see, how should we walk back? We'll go through the middle. What do you say? So here's my Dawn Redwood. Gets bigger every year, just lost all its leaves. So let's walk over the dry creek. All right, so as we walk this way, I had Limelight Prime. I have Limelight Prime right here. I did cut the heads off of that. Red twig dogwood. I've got some hibiscus. This Vanderwolf pine doesn't look great. I think it'll be fine. It lost an enormous amount of needles, but that's to be expected with pines. There's another Viburnum mariaceae. I'd have to say I think our dry creek bed is doing what it's supposed to do. So the water does come down off the hill, runs down underneath the bridge, and back out into the yard where, it can dissipate. So when we're standing right here, let's see what we have. Coral bark maple. I'm probably going to give this some winter protection. I put it in the ground this year. It was in a container, and it has not been doing very well yet. So I guess we'll wait and see. My Stewartia looks great. Got a very big chemiciferous here. I put in a yellow twig dogwood right here, and that's doing really well. I have some new roses. This is all dressed up right here. Oh, I see a big branch here. I'm not sure what that is. Let's see, what else do we have? Pencil point juniper. So I think you can see right off the bat that the evergreens are truly holding their own in the garden. And so when you look out, there's always something to look at. This one is Brobeck's Tower. Almost all of my evergreens are Isley introductions. There's a gold cone juniper that finally is growing pretty good. A couple years ago, I had a lot of winter damage on the backside. This is a hydrangea called Pink Diamond. Again, it's so nice to really see the shape of all of these trees and stuff. The hawthorns have been completely stripped of their berries in the last couple days. Literally, the robins have been on it nonstop. This was completely covered with berries, and now it's completely stripped. So the Japanese maple, this is Koto no Ito. Obviously, everything deciduous has lost its leaves. We've had a lot of very cold weather. I have some tater tot arbs right here. Spirea double play doozy, actually still looking pretty nice. I've got a couple of grasses back in there. All the hydrangeas are looking pitiful, but that's to be expected. This is Crimson Queen Japanese maple. And I hope that's going to do okay. I think it was suffering a little bit maybe this year. A new tower. Some of my mums and my heirloom mums, they're pretty big and they really need some good support. So I've left that in the ground for those. I've got a rose here, Princess Anne. I've got a forsythia, show off forsythia here. And you can see it's all completely budded up. And it's got an incredible hydrangea right in front of it. Some of these evergreens have gotten so much bigger. I'm amazed at how much growth they have put on. I have some irises right here, and hopefully they'll survive. I don't have great luck with bearded irises. I have no problem with Siberians, but you know, these are a little bit different. Lundaby's blue spruce, Nisbet's gold Scotch pine, very pretty. I love when you start getting, you know, the tips start getting yellow. We've got a Bonica rose right here, another beauty berry called Pearl Glam, and it's still hanging on to a few berries. Got a rose in there called Hot Cocoa. And I've got to say, the euchras are still looking pretty nice. This is dressed up ball gown, I believe that's what this one is. And then over here, I think I might have finally found a spot for this. The Skyland spruce, again, just look at the color. It's just, I absolutely love it. So I'm hoping it's going to take to this spot because I've now had it in a few places. So we've got a Cheyenne Sky grass right there. Mini twist pine, which between that and the Coraldo Hinoki are my absolute favorites. Here's a weeping white spruce. And that has put on so much growth since I planted it like 2 years ago. I mean, it's ridiculous. These are all lilacs because I know I don't walk up this way too often. These are all lilacs, and then across the back is nine barks. And again, nine barks have beautiful peeling bark, as do the river birches. So these are heritage river birches right here, which are your native river birches. They love water, which is why they're here. But look at the beautiful, beautiful peeling bark on these. I mean, they're spectacular. So let's turn around and go backward. This little Korean fir is called green carpet. Now you'll see that my plants are tagged. And I have those tags in my Amazon store. I am often having people in my garden, and it's nice to be able to not have to explain every single plant what it is. I'm also coming year, again on the Garden Conservancy open days. This year it'll be August 1st, so if you're in my area, put that date on your calendar. Here's a Andromeda called River Run. And that's still looking gorgeous, actually. You know, some of the other things are looking a little sad and tired for sure. Another spirea. So then we've got a Japanese plum yew here and down over there. Got some heucheras in here. Another spirea doozy, some geums, another Dobbs frosted juniper. So you can see there's a lot to look at. Even the, of course, ogon right there. And I have 3 leucothoes that have really beautiful color. Here's one of them with, of course, ogon next to it, which I love. This one's got a heuchera next to it. And again, just beautiful, beautiful fall color. And the other one is right here on the other side of the walk. Again, you can't beat the color on leucothoe. They do benefit from some shade, I've got to say, which they do get where they are. I still have some, sorry, my nose is running, some roses that are blooming. Look at that. This is Olivia Rose Austin, still going strong. This Queen of Sweden still looks pretty good. No blooms. I'm going to I have a lot of trouble with black spot. There's no two ways about it. So I'm going to defoliate everything. This is a hinoki called Teddy Bear back in there. And like I said, we've actually even got some foliage hanging on here for the Koto no Ito. All right, so let's make our way back up and around, and we'll come back around by the greenhouse. So let's go up this way. And if you're new to my channel, you may not remember, this is actually a French drain underneath. We have so many issues with water on our property that we did not expect when we bought this house, that we actually had to have this put in. Goes down, around, out, and literally all the way out into the back. I have a fig tree in a hoop house. Sorry, I didn't mean to move that quickly. All the berries are gone from my Brandywine viburnum. Looks like the birds have cleaned that off pretty well. Again, the mini twist pine, I absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. Steed's holly right here. So when I, look out this way, again, I've got hollies, I've got boxwoods, I've got this is Pinus Yellow Point. I've got 2 of those. I've got more mini twists up here. I've got a Dandelion Picea right here. Again, look at the color. So these things really catch your eye. They hold your eye. It's crazy. I actually have some daffodils and some leucogyms starting to come up. It's actually been pretty warm. I'm actually going to step in here and put my foot down. I've got alliums in there, and believe it or not, I think I have voles that have even eaten alliums. I guess they're desperate. This is a little picea called Bluebird. I found this at a show I was at, and I've really never been able to find any information on it. There's a juniper. I think that's old gold. My salix is Hakura nishikis. This is a slow mound mugo right here. And another, I think that's a sprinter boxwood. And then more mini twist pines, because I just love it. Like they're soft and they're curled, and I can't beat it. I can't get enough of them, obviously. We white hydrangeas, I did not get around to cutting those down. Still have some penstemon that are up. Asters, Stokes asters. I've actually left the seed heads here because it's so pretty. And let's go around because the wind is starting to pick up in this direction. So I had to pull out 2 smoke bushes that died from nematodes. I mentioned that I sent that sample off, and I also lost a peony that was over here. I'm hoping I don't lose the rest of the peonies. So what have I replaced them with? Evergreens that would not be susceptible to that. So I have a Wells Special Hinoki right here. I've got another Winter Sun Mugo, and I have one in the front, and you can see, again, It gets yellower and yellower the colder it gets. This is a Herman Now spruce, another Isley. We've had to move, for the time being, our fountain because, let me get back so I can show you. Okay, I'm gonna have this spruce taken down. When I planted it 10 years ago, it was probably 6 feet tall. It is a dwarf, which means it grows slowly. Well, it hasn't grown slowly. And it's too big in height and it's too big in width. And I'm feeling at this point that it's taking over the front of the house. It's just too big for the spot. I don't know what I'm gonna put there. I'm thinking maybe a Spartan juniper, Arn's dwarf. I don't know. I've got a few ideas. However, look at Spirea ogon right here. Absolutely gorgeous still. This has been, even though it's warm today and it has been relatively warm, I've got to say, we've had a lot of freezes already. So I'm surprised that this is still looking as good as it is. I usually don't cut quick fire back until this spring. And same thing with my hibiscus. I still have some Cheyenne sky grasses around. Red twig dogwoods. If you remember, I coppiced those all the way to the ground this year, and look at the size of them. Again, the berries are pretty well gone up here in the front. So here is the other winter sun. Look how pretty this is. Isn't it gorgeous? Winter sun mugo, again, another Isley. This was a present my husband bought me last Christmas. So we've got some gembox hollies, 2 Coraldo hinokis, so that bright yellow pop. You look out, whether they're covered with snow, they grab your eye. And then I have another that I moved over here called Cripsy. And then my newest, I pulled out a lilac Charles Jolly right here. And then all along the house, I had inkberries. I got rid of those. I put in another paperbark maple. And again, this is one of those things. I've been here now 10 years. So I really felt that you can't put in a tiny little tree because it's not going to look right because everything else is full grown. So I actually splurged and bought a full-size tree. And then we moved the Cripsy. I'll go slow. Used to be back over here, but the red twig dogwoods were not letting it have quite enough light. We've got some hydrangeas over here, tough stuff hydrangeas, some roses. I still have my bird fountain over here. And then I've got another Salix Hakora Nishiki right here. And let's see if I can get back. In this bed over here around the driveway, I moved 2 roses out over here, just your standard, shrub knockout roses. Let's see. Now, the hillside, these spruces also need some control. Now, my hillside upright, let's see if I can get back there, okay? We've decided the other day, and this I don't know if you'll be able to see. See how now the new growth is getting to be very long, but that is not typical for the hillside upright. So we're not sure if it's reverting. So we're talking about maybe taking out the top and cutting some of those back. We'll have to see if that's what we're going to end up doing. Again, another thing that gets huge is this, another Salix Hakora Nishiki, and every spring I cut this literally all the way back to the trunk. These guys, these boxwoods, I don't remember what they are, but they don't seem to be doing great. I am going to protect these Let's Dance sky views, and only because of snow. So last year we put up, like burlap around here, something to try to protect them. crabapple needs some doctoring. I see some crossing branches, so we'll get to that. I still have snapdragons, and I still have a lemon coral sedum. Check out my newest purchase. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I love this. I got it at Kent Greenhouse in Kent, Connecticut. So if you're in that area, they did have another one. I just couldn't do both of them. The arbor, the wisterias have been totally cut back. And personally, I found that helped them to bloom better. I usually don't cut back the Shenandoah grasses here in the front. And then we're coming down to the end here. We have Little King river birch. Again, I would like a lot of the little branches to get cut out of there to open that up a little bit more. Spirea, these things have gotten some nice cutback. This is Michael Lindsay Calacanthus. More, of course, Ogon. Lots of Palace Purple over here. Firelight Tidbits over here. Another pine. That's a blue shag pine right there. More Cheyenne Sky. And then let's just go check out this bark while we're over here. Look at this gorgeous bark. I mean, how do you beat this? I mean, these are just absolutely gorgeous. And you can see that all winter long. We've got a couple of green giant arborvitaes that finally seem to be taking a little bit of privet. Nine bark. I actually did have to move. I had Let's Dance Big Band. I had 3 of them, one here, one there, and I have one there on the other side. I had to move that one because this 9 bark I was going to move. This is Tiny Wine Gold, but it's not tiny. It's way too big. And one of the 2 had to move because there was this hydrangea was just not getting any light whatsoever. So I moved that up to the front driveway. This one is City Line Venice. And then I've got a lot of bulbs in here. I absolutely love Blushing Lady, tulips, and there's a lot of Allium Mount Everest in here. There are a lot of daffodils in here. But this is one of the beds that we do have trouble with voles. As you can see, we have a vole trap right there, and they do work. You know, we don't catch something every day, but they do work. So that's where I'm going to leave it. Hopefully this isn't too long. Have a great holiday season. So again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your support all year. Please subscribe, hit that like button. It really does make a difference when it comes to being able to continue to produce content. So thank you so much. Have a great holiday season.